being that you obviously, again, appealing to Team Crawford, can you confirm? Are we going to see that fight? Has it been made official? Is it official?
It's on, baby. September 13, baby. Look forward to it. Crawford versus Canelo. Listen how I said it.
Hey, are we getting this confirmation here first?
You understand?
Last year, Canelo Alvarez fought on September 14th around the Mexican Independence Day, and it's only normal that his yearly September fight comes up on September 13th this year. It's been reported that the Mexican King has booked the T-Mobile Arena for September 13th this year as he looks set to take on Terence. But Crawford said that just about a year after his fight against Edgar Berlanga at the same site, a fight that clashed with the UFC.
You never know in boxing. I'll go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not?
Canelo Alvarez has been rumored to take on Terence Crawford in a possible super fight later in 2025. The Mexican pugilist is a fighting icon and has had an illustrious career. Both he and Crawford are two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world at the time, and a showdown between them would be a spectacle. Canelo Alvarez might be getting older, but age hasn't done anything to slow down his momentum and standing as the face of boxing. Boxing fans haven't been overly pleased with his opponent choices in recent years, with many saying he's avoiding the very best, like David Benavidez.
Yeah, it's confirmed. Man, what?
Say less.
Crawford versus Canelo, not the other way around. Team Crawford stand up, pound for pound, the best in the world, soon to be the super middleweight champion of the world.
Despite that, Alvarez has continued to sell out every place he fights at, regardless of the opponent. The same will happen later this year, as a much-anticipated fight against Terence Crawford has been all but finalized. Everything points to that fight happening on September 13th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. But will Canelo be out of action for that long? It's unlikely, and boxing may have uncovered the date and place of his next fight. Boxing Scene heard Thursday that fight cards are reserved on the Strip for March 22nd, March 29th, April 5th, and May 3rd, the last of which is a great unknown for now.
I respect Crawford. He's a great fighter, and I always say that no disrespect him, but sometimes he's a little crazy, the people.
For Canelo, that third date is clearly the one to keep an eye on. Canelo has fought on the weekend of Cinco de Mayo every year since 2019, excluding the co-year in 2020. 3 of those 5 fights came at the T-Mobile Arena, so we can definitely connect the dots. It's not a sure thing, though, given how important the fight against Crawford is. Alvarez could choose to take more time off and keep his body fresh, but he doesn't like to take too much rest time if his past history is anything to go by. As for who he would fight, William Skull looks to be the main option. The IBF super middleweight champion has been in talks with Canelo's team since the beginning of the year.
It's a little crazy, the people talking about a small fighter like Charlo. He's big, which he is big.
Canelo, though, is now 34 years old, and while he has shown no signs of slowing down, he is probably nearing the end of his career. In a recent chat with Ring magazine, Canelo revealed when he might consider hanging up the gloves. He said, "I don't know, yeah, I'm getting closer to retirement, obviously, but I'm feeling great. I feel better than ever, but maybe at 38. Yeah, I think 38 would be the right time to start thinking about that." He further added, "I have had tough fights and ones I didn't need. In those times, I take risks my whole career. I really love the tasks and what I do, and I try to show everybody how good I am. I love to go up and down in weight. I never look at my record and say, I did this. My trainer always talks about it, and he always shows me the things I've done to all the world champions, and it's very amazing."
Named you and Terence Crawford as one of the top 5 fights that he wants to see this year. Is that a fight that you're considering now?
We'll see. We'll see. Everything is possible. We'll see. We want to talk about it. Sit down.
Canelo Alvarez last beat Edgar Berlanga back in September 2020 for reports suggest his rumored bout against Terence Crawford is close to becoming a reality in 2025. For now, the future of this potential fight remains quite certain. Both fighters have existing commitments, and the possibility of an agreement will hinge on several factors, including contract negotiations and strategic decisions from both teams. There aren't many fighters that have shared the ring with both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. The only man to do so inside a professional ring was Amir Khan, suffering stoppage defeats to the pair, and he's already given his thoughts on how a potential Crawford versus Canelo matchup would go.
What do I think of that fight?
Yeah.
I think that, everybody knows that Crawford got the skills. I do think that Canelo's a little big. He's a little big for Crawford. It'll be a tall task for me.
There are a few more that have sparred with the two men, though, and one of them has now given his take on how he thinks the fantasy clash could play. That man is middleweight contender Kyron Davis, who even took on fellow Canelo foe David Benavidez back in November 2021, having sparred with both Bud and Canelo. Davis told Mill Boxing that he thinks it would be extremely tough for Crawford and would back Alvarez to get the win. Canelo is a big guy. It's going to be a lot. He can take a punch, so you're not going to hurt Canelo. I don't think Crawford can hurt him with one punch. Maybe he can cut an eye or something or bother him to the body.
It'll be a lot. We have to. It'll be a lot to get that victory based on, you know, size alone. Not that size wins fights, but you got a guy that got size and skill. It'll be hard. I mean,
he has to get some flesh on gloves and go to the body. It's going to be a tall job. Canelo can really fight. He has moves and traps. It's not easy in boxing. Nothing is impossible, but if I had to bet, I'd put money on Canelo. I'm not taking anything away from Crawford, but Canelo is great. Can Canelo stop him? He's a bigger guy. I think one punch can do it. Oscar de la Hoya, despite his difficult relationship with Canelo Alvarez, has shared his thoughts on a possible showdown between the Mexican superstar and Terence Crawford.
Finally, Oscar, Terence Crawford says he wants to fight Canelo. He's changed his tune. He said he's willing to move up 3 weight divisions. To me, that's kind of crazy, but that just shows you, like, man, the dog that's in Terence Crawford.
De La Hoya insists that his predictions regarding any possible fight involving Canelo are unbiased. Oscar de la Hoya has a bold view on the potential outcome of this hypothetical matchup. The former world champion thinks that Canelo, with his greater size and power, would have a clear advantage over Crawford at 154. Crawford didn't really look too scary up in the ring against a beast. So imagine Canelo being the bigger guy being a beast. It's almost like a no contest. I mean, come on. And has a smaller good guy ever beaten a good, bigger guy? It's never happened in the history of the sport. It's rare. De La Hoya told Fight Hub TV Crawford, known for his technical ability and punch-in power, would face a major physical challenge in taking on Canelo at his natural weight.
Canelo?
Terence Crawford will beat Canelo anytime. Anytime. Because, and this is look.
While some experts think Terence Crawford possesses the skills to compete with Canelo, the disparity in size and power could prove decisive. Demetrius Andrade, a past super middleweight world champion, weighed in on this highly anticipated matchup.
Just too much overall. Like, is that kind of the same thing with the Crawford and Canelo because of the weight classes, the weight between them?
Yeah, I believe so.
I love Crawford. He's a good friend. We reach out to each other. We've been touring the world through the amateur program. He saw me beat people up. I saw him beat people up. I think the stories could go on. But when it comes to weight freedom, that stuff is real. Andrade said during an interview with Fight Hub TV that Andrade, who himself was once linked to a fight with Canelo, recognized Terence Crawford's immense talent and skill. However, he thinks Canelo holds a significant advantage due to his size and experience at higher weight classes. Canelo is a big, bad wolf, and he can run the whole night. I think Crawford has the skills, but when it comes to Saul getting shots and stopping his power shots, Canelo knows how to move too. He has speed, not like a robot. I mean, it's going to be tough. Andrade explained.
I love Crawford. He's a good friend. You know, we reach out to each other. We've been travel the world through the amateur program. He see me beat people up. I see him beat people up. He see me get beat up. I got beat up. We both.
I don't think Crawford can beat Canelo, but I still think he can give him a good fight. And I'll be sitting there raging for Canelo all day. Andrade added David Benavidez has shared his thoughts on a hypothetical Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford clash, but went up to the 154 pounds category for his last fight and beat Israel Madrimov via decision. He now holds the WBO temporary super welterweight title. As a result, Crawford boasts an amazing career record of 4,100. Canelo, on the other hand, is one of the greatest fighters of the modern age. He beat Edgar Berlanga at super middleweight in his last fight. The Mexican icon is February 2nd, 62, as a worker. Benavidez praised Crawford's technique, but doubts his power translates to higher weight classes to take on Canelo, but would need to move up to more weight groups.
Crawford throwing his hat in to want to fight Canelo at 168.
I mean, everybody wants to fight Canelo. It's a money fight. You know what I mean? I think even Inoue would come up to fight Canelo. Canelo wanted to fight him. I mean, I don't want to see Crawford to fight, but it would be. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great fight. It'd be a great fight, but I feel like if I deserve my opportunity. And and after this fight, what else are you gonna say?
In a recent conversation, Benavidez said, "To be honest with you, Crawford is one of the best skilled fighters have ever seen when he went to 154. I'm not saying he had trouble, but he looked like he didn't have the power he had at 147, and he'd still have to come up 2 or 3 weight classes. Crawford is a one-of-a-kind fighter, but weight classes must be honored. I give Canelo the edge. Benavidez has spent the majority of his career at 147 pounds. Hence, he has to move up greatly in weight to take on Canelo in super middleweight. Benavidez, meanwhile, has long been touted as a fighter who could trouble Canelo inside the squared circle. A dream fight between the two Mexicans, though, hasn't materialized yet.
This is a tough fight. You know, the top people ranked at the WBC are fighting each other. So I mean, it should be an easy call. If I can't get those fights, then I'll go up to fight Bivol, or I'll go try to, I set my conquest on 175.
The fast Dan Benavidez is set to take on David Morrell in his next fight on February 1st. The potential fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford has captured the imagination of boxing fans worldwide. Crawford, after his dominant victory over Errol Spence Jr., has openly stated his desire to face the Mexican super middleweight champion. Crawford, widely regarded as the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world, would be taking on a monumental task by moving up to weight classes to face Canelo. However, the road to this historic bout will be anything but easy. However, some other guys think otherwise, as they feel Crawford is just good enough to hurt Canelo regardless of the weight difference.
What are the plans for him?
I think he is injured now. We are planning to have something with him. I will discuss with him maybe in January. I see him last week in Hamburg. He said he's have a little injured, and he's starting to rehab now and training again.
However, Ortiz's trainer Robert Garcia revealed that as per his private talk with Crawford, the Nebraska technician just wants Canelo or nothing at all, hinting at Crawford's possible retirement. Even Alaushif seems to share that belief. He told The Stomping Ground, "I don't think Crawford will fight anyone except Canelo, even though Alaushif wanted to offer Virgil Ortiz as an opponent. He claimed, I don't think he will take it. I think he only wants Canelo." However, the latest tweet from the undefeated two-way, undisputed champion suggests retirement might not be on his mind. "Right now I have been doubted my whole career and some still question me. Now I love it," he wrote on X. If seeing this, Ifan responded to Crawford, "Keep fighting. 1x a year, but what an era." Crawford quickly cleared all the retirement rumors, writing, "The desire is high. I see Bud might still keep fighting. And it might not be against Canelo, but that hasn't stopped people from predicting a possible outcome between them." David Benavidez, who wants his own fight against Canelo, has shared his thoughts on a possible clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, while acknowledging Crawford's technical brilliance. Benavidez voiced doubts about Crawford's ability to handle the challenges of higher weight classes. "To be honest with you, Crawford is one of the best technical boxers had ever seen," Benavidez said when he went to 154. "I'm not saying he had trouble, but he looked like he didn't have the power he had at 147, and he'd still have to come up 2 or 3 weight classes. Crawford is a one-of-a-kind fighter, but weight classes must be honored. I'd give Canelo the edge."
Well, Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo? Fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo. What do that do for Canelo? There are so many other fights to make that's realistic, it makes sense, and less life risking on top of the risk that we risk stepping in there with guys our weight.
Roy Jones, being one of the most dominant boxers of his era, stays invested in the careers of the new generation of boxing stars. Among them, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez stand out as 2 of today's best pound-for-pound fighters. The idea of a possible matchup between the two has captured the imagination of boxing fans worldwide. Terence Crawford, a 4-division world champion, has voiced his interest in facing Canelo, the reigning super middleweight king. However, the weight disparity between the two poses a significant challenge for the American fighter.
Booth time to take over and start beating the guys around him. He's the best of that group. Bud is in a group above him. Bud don't need to come back down to 47 to meet him. That's crazy.
In an interview with Mill City Boxing, Jones Jr. shared his take on this hypothetical clash while praising Crawford's talent and skills. The renowned boxer leaned toward Canelo as the favorite. "I like Terence, but I'm going to lean towards Canelo with his size early. But if he lets Terence get into the fight, Terence is going to be a problem. If Terence can deal with the size, he will beat him in the part of striking power." Jones Jr. emphasized the value of Canelo's punching power as a decisive factor in the fight. That's what I'm saying. We don't know until we see Terence get hit, because we haven't seen him get hit with that power. Jones Jr. said that's the deciding factor. If you can change Bud's fight plan, you have a chance of beating him, but if you can't hurt him, you can't change his fight plan, and you've got difficulties. This study underscores Crawford's need to neutralize Canelo's renowned power. If Crawford can impose his technical boxing skills and avoid Canelo's devastating punches, he could stand a chance of pulling off a historic upset, while the potential fight between Canelo and Crawford remains a dream situation for fans. Canelo Alvarez is currently focused on preparing for his next fight. International Boxing Federation interim champion William Skull has been suggested as a possible opponent. This wasn't always the case for Roy Jones Jr., though. The Hall of Fame fighter and current promoter, trainer, and noted analyst Roy Jones Jr. had earlier shared scenarios in which he sees both Terence Crawford and David Benavidez beating Alvarez. Before going against his former prediction, he started with David Benavidez, saying it's a tough fight to call because Benavidez throws a lot of punches. Sometimes power can interfere and make that a different situation. Jones said in an interview with BoxingScene.com that he
can beat him. If he beats him, he may go fight Benavidez next. If he don't beat him, he say, okay, I took it as high as I could go. I'm done.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if he gets the win. Like, oh my God.
The trouble is Canelo willing to take the risk? I don't really think he will right now because I don't think he feels like he has a reason to. If he can't hurt Benavidez early in the first 3 or 4 rounds, I don't see him winning that fight. The two-time 168-pound titlist Benavidez has been hitting the table for a crack at Alvarez over the last 2 years. Formerly known as the best welterweight in the world, Crawford is open to moving up to weight classes for the chance of clashing with the Mexican star, Alvarez. Meanwhile maintains that a win against Crawford would do little for his reputation, even though many are giving Crawford a real chance to score the win. If anybody can do it and pull it off, it's Crawford, so you can't tell him no, said Jones. I was the kind of guy that if someone said they were better than me and if I can get close to your weight, here I come. I gave John Ruiz 33 pounds. I won the heavyweight title in 2003. I didn't care. I wanted to prove that I was pound for pound the best and to do something historic that had never been done. That's probably how Bud feels right now. He wants to do something historic to solidify his legacy in boxing. Who doesn't want to see the pound for pound best from yesterday fight the pound for pound best from today? Who wouldn't want to see that fight? It's a mega fight if he puts the muscle and weight on. How can you doubt him? One thing that's for sure is that he's going to go out there and fight and not just take a paycheck. He's going to go out there and try to win the fight because that's who Bud is. If he carries the weight, it'll be a good fight. He can box just like Floyd Mayweather, and he can also fight. He hits and doesn't get hit. If he can take the punch at that weight, he'll probably win the fight.
A big for Crawford, I'm not sure about that because Crawford does have punching power and shock, but I think Canelo's a little big. He showed tonight that he's pretty big, so I probably would rather see Charlo fight Crawford first, and then see how that goes. And if he does good against Charlo with the weight, then let's see him come up and fight Canelo. Yes, but not right now. I want to see him.
Jones, who fluctuated in weight during the latter half of his career as a 4-division title holder, said Alvarez should continue his career going forward at super middleweight. It's definitely best that Alvarez stays at 168. I didn't understand why he went to 75 to fight Dmitry Bivol. Anyway, said Jones, he had already beaten Sergey Kovalev, who was at the end of his career. Bivol was in the middle of his. They are 2 different animals. He got the crusher at the right time. Go back down and conquer where you're at. Don't try to fight another one because lightning isn't going to strike twice. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay linked with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality content like this. Until next time, peace out.